In drawing, there's a huge amount of information to learn, but there's one skill which is the foundation of everything. Without this one skill, you're unable to even know if you're improving or not. In this video, I want to talk about that skill and how we can hone it. Observation is not just looking at something, but carefully and attentively taking note of what we see. Having good observation is the underlying skill behind everything we draw. A lack of observation makes it impossible to see mistakes in our own work, and it also makes it impossible to internalize the things that we see and then translate them onto the page. Drawing from observation is probably the most obvious way we can improve our observation skills, but like everything, we shouldn't go into it without thinking. Observational drawing is just the act of drawing what you see in front of you. When we walk around in our daily lives, we often see things without really thinking about it. The brain has a tendency to simplify all the information we see so that we're not overwhelmed. The exercise of observational drawing allows us to slow down and take in visual information which our minds usually ignore. When we draw from observation, we should aim to pay attention to things that we would normally ignore or just quickly glance over. There's so many opportunities to draw from observation. Of course, we can draw from photos, but among artists, this is usually discouraged. Despite the benefits of drawing from life, I wouldn't completely rule out drawing from photos though. Even though it's not perfect, drawing from photos is better than not drawing at all. But of course, photos have their shortcomings when compared to drawing from life. Just like our brains, when we're not paying attention, photos omit information as well. Maybe if you're watching this video 50 or 100 years in the future, what I'm saying doesn't apply. But at the time of recording this, there's no camera that can capture the world in the same way as our eyes can. Photos don't have the same range of color or level of detail that our eyes have. Another key difference is that photos aren't 3D. Again, that might be different in the distant future, but right now our eyes give us a much greater sense of depth than a photo does. These things allow us to perceive and therefore observe way much more when we draw. One of the main things we're doing when we draw is simplifying the extremely detailed and three-dimensional world into a 2D image on a page. But photos are already doing this in their own way, so when we draw from photos, most of the work is already done for us. Something which we can do when drawing from observation is looking for things which aren't immediately obvious. When someone sees a tree, they might only see the shape in front of them. This is an important thing to think about, but to an artist, there's more that you can see. For example, we can observe the cylindrical form of the trunk and the branches. By noticing these things, we're strengthening our fundamentals with examples from the world around us. But what if you're brand new to drawing and you don't know what to look for? Even if you're not brand new, there might be things that you're not seeing and there's no way that you would know about it. This is where we need to be shown things by other people so that we can expand our vision. We can do this by reading books or just any other study resource. With the tree example, you wouldn't be able to observe the cylindrical forms in the tree if you had no idea what a cylindrical form even is. This is why it's important to expand your knowledge of the fundamentals. Once you gain the understanding of a fundamental principle, you can draw from observation and see it in the real world. Normally, if there's mistakes in your work but you just don't know where it is, it's probably because there's a gap in your knowledge. And when you have a gap in your knowledge, you're just not able to really see where your mistakes are. So when you get to that kind of roadblock, sometimes you just need to learn more about the fundamentals or just learn more in general. Sometimes we don't have the opportunity to draw, but we can still strengthen our observation. By looking at the world around you, you can observe and understand the fundamentals without having to put down lines. By thinking about the fundamentals and seeing them in the world, we're almost drawing without drawing. Kim Jong-gi mentioned doing something like this when he was in the military for 2 years. Even though he couldn't draw every day, he would observe the things around him and almost draw in his head. I personally remember having experiences like this when I first started drawing. When I first learned what an ellipse is and how their shape distorts in perspective, I was seeing it everywhere. I would observe how the wheels on cars passing by would change in shape when they get closer to me and then when they move away. I'd think about vanishing points whenever I looked at buildings while I was walking to school. This is a really fun way to think and train your brain to draw even when you don't have a pen in your hand. I hope this short video helps you to have a stronger understanding of what I think is one of the most important skills in drawing. When we can observe, we can understand pretty much anything. Thank you for watching and have fun drawing.